think about a paperless business, does this sound like a dream come true, or do you view it as more of a nightmare? There are many businesses that don't even offer paper receipts anymore. So when you don't have a receipt, how are you even supposed to manage it? My clients will ask me about the best way to manage their receipts, and unfortunately, my answer is normally, it depends. I know this isn't a good answer, and it surely isn't what the client wants to hear. But the main reason for the unclear answer is really because every business is unique, and every business owner is unique. I always talk to my clients to see what the best option is for them. I want to make sure that the option that they select is something that they're able to do and that they're consistent. Your overall goal when setting up a system to manage your receipts should be to make it as simple as possible while developing a system where you will be able to find your receipts when needed. Today, I'm going to talk about the best ways to manage your receipts using paper and paperless options. If you feel like this is an area in your business where you struggle to have a good system in place, or if you already have a system in place but you wonder if there's an easier way to manage your receipts, you'll definitely want to listen in. This episode will be helpful for you whether you're just starting your small business, you're a solopreneur, entrepreneur, small business owner, virtual online bookkeeper, or virtual assistant. Every business has receipts that they need to manage, and after this episode, you'll be able to decide which system will work best for you, and you'll be able to locate your receipts easily when you need to. You're listening to the Mastering Your Small Business Finances podcast, where we get straight to the point on topics that ultimately affect your bottom line. That's right, as an entrepreneur with a small business, money management, growth, marketing, they all affect your bottom line. I'm your host, Chris Ponick. I'm a certified public accountant, and I've been helping small business owners like you navigate and easily understand these complicated topics for over 25 years. I'm a wife, a mom, a grandmother, and a small business owner myself, so I know your time is valuable. In my free time, I make the best sugar cookies and have mastered an amazing chocolate chip cookie recipe. And that's not just my opinion. You're in the right place. I promise your time will be well spent here. Each week, you'll gain confidence and clarity while making a successful impact on your business and grow your bottom line. Get comfy, grab a cookie, and let's get straight to the point with this week's episode. Are you looking for a computerized software solution to do your bookkeeping? I highly recommend checking out QuickBooks Online. I've been using QuickBooks myself for over 20 years, and they really know how to streamline processes and make your bookkeeping and recording your transactions simple and easy. QuickBooks is one of the top software solutions used by small business owners, and I would say that over 95% of my clients are currently using QuickBooks for their businesses. One of the features most of my clients and I take advantage of is the option to set up bank feeds. You simply link your bank account to your QuickBooks account, and QuickBooks will automatically import each transaction into your QuickBooks file. You'll save a ton of time not having to manually enter each of these transactions. You simply review each of the transactions and make sure they're getting recorded to the appropriate account, and then click one button and they're in. Want to know more? Head over to financialadventure.com/QuickBooks and learn how you can save 50% off of your first 3 months. Welcome back. Receipt management for your business, once you have the proper processes in place, will not only help you organize your receipts, but once you have a smooth process in place, you'll also find yourself saving time. Saving you time from struggling to decide how to file your receipts, as well as saving you time when it comes to looking for them, just in case you have a return or even if there's an audit. Even just a few extra minutes of time will add up over the course of the year, and who wouldn't mind adding some extra time to their day? One of the first questions I get from business owners is if they should be saving their receipts physically or electronically. The answer here really depends on what is easier for them. I have some clients who are on their computer all day long, and it's easy for them to create an electronic version of their receipt management system. But others may not be in the office much, and to be honest, they struggle every time they come in contact with a computer. The first thing I want you to ask yourself is how comfortable you would be with an electronic receipt management system. If you feel like this would be something you would struggle with, then I really recommend you continue to use a physical receipt management system. But I'm going to cover both in this episode. Again, your main goal when deciding on which process will work best for you is to be consistent, make sure that you're following it, and that you capture all of your receipts. You could have an amazing process set up, but if you're never following it, you will have a disaster when it comes to the end of the year. Be honest with yourself here and make sure that you select the option that works best for you. We'll start with the physical receipt management system. Physical receipt management systems would be having an actual paper copy of your receipt to file for your records. I normally divide the physical receipt management system into two categories. One would be to keep your paper receipts by month, and the other is to keep your receipts by vendor. When you keep your receipts by month, you would have a folder for each month of the year, and as you accumulate your receipts, you would file them in the month that they are incurred. When you are done with the year, you would store that year's worth of records so that they are available if or when you need to look back for any reason. I also recommend when you're doing your monthly bank account reconciliations and closing out your month that you print out copies of your balance sheet and profit and loss report when you have all of your transactions entered if you're using a computerized software system such as QuickBooks. Include your bank statements and any other relevant information for that month within that monthly folder. If you have a bookkeeper helping you, you can ask them for these reports on a monthly basis, and if you're doing your bookkeeping manually, you can include your bank statement copies and any reports you generate in that month to file as well. Your goal here is to try to have all of the information in one file per month that you can quickly look back on if necessary. You'll have the proper documentation for any transaction that happens within that month, all within that one file. This will make it simple for you to look at any documentation you need as long as you know the date of the transaction that was incurred. The second option for physical receipt management would be to keep a file by vendor name or an alphabetical vendor filing system. In this method, you could start with a folder for each letter of the alphabet and start filing your receipts in the appropriate folder. If you find that you're using a specific vendor multiple times a year, you might want to have a file set up just for that vendor. You would set this system up to encompass 1 year's worth of information as well. And when the year is over, you would start with a new set of folders to keep your receipts in. When you file your receipts in this manner, it's still important to keep your financial reports by month, so you may want to have a separate folder to store these reports in as well. Your goal with this system, again, is to be able to file your receipts quickly, and when needed, you'll be able to locate your receipts by finding the folder that would contain that appropriate vendor. One key thing to remember with both these physical options is to make sure that you have a copy of your receipt. So when you're asked, would you like a receipt? You're going to want to make sure you say yes. If there isn't an option to get a printed receipt at the time of the purchase, make sure that you have your receipt emailed or capture a photo of the receipt so that you can print it at a later time to get it into your receipt management system. I know this is hard to do since not all vendors ask if you even want a receipt, but most times when you ask for the receipt, they should be able to provide it to you, and this will be your responsibility to make sure you get a copy of every receipt for your files. Okay, now that we've covered how to handle your physical receipt management, I'm going to cover how you can do this electronically. Very similar to how the physical receipt management system worked, you'll be able to replicate this electronically. You can actually purchase receipt management software if you're interested, but I normally tell my clients this is something you can do right on your computer without having to purchase any software. But you will need to have a good scanner, and you'll want to make sure that when you scan any receipts that you're able to read the full receipt. I recommend that you make a separate file on your computer and call it something like Receipt Management or something similar that you will know how to find it. Once you have this folder set up on your computer, you will then want to set up a separate folder for each year you're doing your electronic receipt management. This will help you find your receipts easily as long as you know which year that they were incurred. Next, you have a couple of options. Again, much like the physical receipt management system, you can set up folders within the year by month, or you can set them up alphabetically so that you can save your receipts by vendor. It really doesn't matter which direction you go, but you do want to be consistent to help you create a good filing system. Once you have the folders set up on your computer, you will scan your receipts and save them to the appropriate folder, either by date or by vendor. When you save them, I would recommend saving the document with the vendor's name and the date of purchase as the file name. This again will make it easy for you to find your receipt without having to open a million documents looking for one specific receipt. Once you have the vendor's name and date, you should be able to find your receipts fairly quickly. I also recommend that you save a copy of your financial statements and your bank statements electronically if you're using an electronic receipt management system. It is just nice to have all of your documents readily available in the receipt management system that you choose. You can do this by scanning your documents and saving them in a file in the year that you are saving all of your receipts. One last thing regarding the electronic receipt management system. Make sure that you have a good system set up for backing up your files and your computer. If this is the only record you have of your files, you do not want to lose them if you happen to have a virus or your computer crashes. No matter which receipt management solution you're using, it's beneficial to make a note on each receipt so that you're able to remember exactly what the receipt was for. Make sure you do this prior to scanning your receipt if you're using the electronic receipt management system, so that your notes show up on your scanned receipt. These notes will be especially important if it's a meal or entertainment expense, as well as anything that is out of the ordinary. If it is a meal or entertainment expense, you should note who you were with as well as the reason you incurred the expense or the business purpose. If you're thinking about starting a bookkeeping business, or if you have an existing bookkeeping business, I want to let you know about my 4-step framework for creating a profitable bookkeeping business, which I'm going to be opening up real soon. With this framework, you will be able to gain the confidence, skills, and knowledge to create a profitable bookkeeping business in 3 months or less, without feeling alone, overwhelmed, or confused about your next steps. You can sign up for the waitlist and be the first to know about this exciting opportunity, as well as find out more information about the Elevated Bookkeepers Inner Circle. As a bookkeeper, you want to make sure you have reliable resources to help maintain a profitable bookkeeping business. And with my Elevated Bookkeepers Inner Circle, you'll have lots of support from me, as well as access to a community of other bookkeepers just like you. To make sure that you get all of the upcoming notifications, go to financialadventure.com/elevate-waitlist. I'll post a link where you're listening to this podcast for you to sign up as well. All right, to recap this episode. Number 1, receipt management for your business, once you have the proper processes in place, will not only help you organize your receipts, but once you have a smooth process in place, you will also find yourself saving time. Number 2, you might be asking if you should be saving your receipts physically or electronically. The answer here really depends on what is easier for you. Number 3, the first thing I want you to ask yourself is how comfortable you would be with an electronic receipt management system. If you feel like this would be something you would struggle with, then I would recommend that you continue to use a physical receipt management system. Number 4, your main goal when deciding on which process will work best for you is to be consistent. Make sure that you're following the processes and capture all of your receipts. Number 5, physical receipt management systems would be having an actual paper copy of your receipt to file for your records. Number 6, manual receipt management systems fall into 2 categories. One would be to keep your paper receipts by month, and the other would be to keep your receipts by vendor or alphabetical order. Number 7. When you are done with the year, you would store the year's worth of information so that they are available for you when you need to look back for any reason. Number 8. When you're doing your monthly bank account reconciliations and closing out your month, you can also print out copies of your balance sheet and profit and loss report when you have all of your transactions entered if you're using a computerized system such as QuickBooks. You can also include copies of your bank statements and any other relevant information for that month. Your goal here is to try to have all the information in one file per month that you can quickly look back on if necessary. Number 9. Another option for your physical receipt management system would be to keep a file by vendor name or an alphabetical vendor filing system. Start with a folder for each letter of the alphabet and start filing your receipts in the appropriate folder. You would set this system up to encompass 1 year's worth of information as well. Number 10. One key thing to remember with both of these physical options is to make sure you have a copy of your receipts. So when you are asked if you would like a receipt, make sure you say yes. Number 11. When having an electronic receipt management system, you will need to have a good scanner, and you'll want to make sure when you scan any receipt that you're able to read the full receipt. Number 12. Make a separate file on your computer and call it something like Receipt Management so that you know how to find it. Once you have this folder set up on your computer, you will then want to set up a separate folder for each year that you are doing your electronic receipt management for. Number 13. Much like the physical receipt management system, you can set up folders within the year by month, or you can set them up alphabetically so that you can save your receipts by vendor. Number 14. Once you have the folders set up on your computer, you will scan your receipt and save them to the appropriate folder, either by date or by vendor. Saving the document with the vendor's name and the date of purchase as the file name will help you locate your files quickly. Number 15. No matter which receipt management solution you're using, it's beneficial to make a note on each receipt so that you're able to remember exactly what the receipt was for. Make sure you do this prior to scanning your receipt if you're using the electronic receipt management system so that your notes show up on the scanned receipt. And I'm going to ask, what's at least one thing that you will take away from this episode that will help your business succeed and grow your bottom line? If you need some accountability, join our private Facebook community and post your action item. We'd love to support you. Thanks for taking the time to tune into this episode of Mastering Your Small Business Finances. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed creating it for you, I'd love for you to give it a 5-star rating and subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. Visit financialadventure.com for the show notes, links from this episode, and while you're there, leave a comment if you have a topic you're interested in learning more about that affects your bottom line. If you're looking for a community where you can ask questions and get feedback about your small business, join my private Facebook group. You can find the links to this group and more on financialadventure.com. And remember, any financial information shared on this podcast is not to be considered professional, financial, or tax advice and should not be solely relied upon. Please consult your CPA or tax advisor for an opinion on your specific circumstances. I'm looking forward to having you tune in next time. Until then, dream big, follow your heart, and love what you do.